Okay. Remember, there are 3 forms of quadratic equations, yes? Right? We have been spending all our time right now with the vertex form, right? Okay. So looking at this graph here, do I have points on this graph? It's a little hard to see, but do I have some points on this graph? I certainly do. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 is my vertex, yes? So my vertex is -5, and what is the y value? 2. So do I have my vertex? Yes. So knowing what I know about vertex form, I know that this graph is y equals something, because I don't know if there's a stretch yet, x plus 5 squared plus 2. Correct? Does everyone agree? All right. So now let's check our stretch. When I go out to, first of all, is it going to be positive or negative for A? Negative. So I know A has to be negative. Correct? Everyone agrees? Everyone knows why? Right? Because it's facing downwards. Now, all I got to do is check. If I went over 1, how far down did I go? That's a little hard to see on here, yes? So let's check the next one. If I go over 2, how far down should I go? 4. 1, 2 to 0, 1, 2. Did I go down 4? So it's a normal parabola, yes? There's no stretch. So do I need anything for A? No. So it's y equals negative x plus 5 squared plus 2. Is everybody good? The reason I'm going quickly now is because this is something you already know, right? This is just vertex form. Everybody okay? All right. You guys try B. Check your vertex and work from there. When somebody has what they think is the vertex, go ahead and volunteer it. -1, -4? Right. 1, -4. Right? Which automatically gives us this. Y equals A, x minus 1 squared minus 4. Right? Now all I got to do is check the stretch factor. So find any other point and see what the stretch is. If I go this way 1 to here, how far up did I go? 1, 2. Does everyone agree? So I went up 2 when I should have only gone up 1. So what's my stretch value? 2. So this is y equals 2, x minus 1 squared minus 4. Is everybody good when we have a picture? Because it's just counting, yes? Everyone's cool? Now, if Bryce were here, he would already be complaining, why didn't you give us the grid? Right? But it's pretty easy to work out. Everybody okay? Going once? Going twice? Going thrice? Everyone can count? Lovely. Look at the next one and tell me what's different. There's no graph, dagnabbit. But there's a vertex, isn't there, Joel? So what do we know is the equation here? We know it's y equals a x what? Plus 3 plus 6, and that's squared, yes? Everyone agree? Now, what other piece of information do I have in this question? I have a point. Every point is what? An x and a y. What is that? An x. What is that? An x. So what do I get to do? Plug it in. Or, like the commercial says, plug it in, which you should never do because those air fresheners are evil. Because they are not doing anything but flooding your atmosphere with chemicals. It smells better, but let me ask you this. When your dad farts and it smells like feces, do you like it? No, but that's just a chemical filling the atmosphere. When cows fart, what does it smell like? Methane, which is the same stuff that our farts are made of. Except cow farts ruin the atmosphere. Do we want extra chemicals in our atmosphere? No. So don't use Glade plugins. They're evil. Also, they're made of oil. It would be a big help if we were all vegetarians. Except you can't do that either. Because there's no way to grow enough food to feed everybody. Unless we were willing to only eat what we needed. Which, being North Americans, no. Please, we get to eat what we want. That's why we're allowed to have half the population have an obesity problem while the other half is starving. Damn right. All right, so what is this going to become? What is going in instead of y? 1 equals a. What's going in instead of x? -1 plus 3 squared plus 6. Now we just work this out, yes? What is -1 plus 3? 2. What is 2 squared? 4. So I have 1 equals 4a plus 6, yes? Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. What is a? Is a positive or negative? Why is a negative? Because I went from a vertex downwards. So it's -4a plus 6. Now what? Now what should you do? Now you just use algebra. -6 minus 6, -5 equals -4a. What does a equal? 5/4. So what's my final answer? Y equals 5/4, -5/4, bracket x plus 3 squared plus 6. Gouda? So look at D. What's different? Oh, there's only a y-intercept. But what do we know about y-intercepts? When do they occur? When x equals 0. So what is this really? 0, 2. Does that give me an x and a y? Can I use that to find a? Sure I can. What is it? Y equals a x what? Plus 3 squared minus 5. And what goes in here? 2 equals a. 0 plus 3 is 3 squared minus 5. So 2 equals 9a minus 5. Yes? Yes? Then what? Bring the 5 over. So 7 equals 9a. What does a equal? 7/9. So what's my final equation? Is everybody good? Look at E. Well, I just want you to think about it for a sec. Okay? So, what do we know about E? Sydney gave us a big hint in D. Do we know this? That's 2, 0, and 8, 0, isn't it? Right? So, could I use substitution? I could. I could also use my head, can't I? Because 5 is right in the middle of this, isn't it? Isn't it? And it's 9 down, isn't it? So if I go 5 over to 8, how far is that? 3, which means how far up should I go? 9. Did I go over 3 up 9? So does this have a stretch factor? No. So this one is just y equals x minus 5 squared minus 9, because there's no stretch factor. Does everybody understand why? Five, negative 9, right? The x-intercepts are 8 and 2. 8, 2. Over 3, up 9. Over 3, up 9. So it's got to be a positive parabola. Now, guys, please listen up. This is cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater, right? Like, I did this because I saw right away that that's what it was doing. What if you don't see that? Then what do? Then you do algebra. Except your point is 2, 0, or 8, 0, and then you just solve it. Everybody cool? This is just a time saver. Eventually, when you practice enough, you'll start seeing this stuff as opposed to doing algebra. Understand? Everybody okay? Yeah? All right. Okay. Now, guys, listen to me. If you are all okay right now, then the only thing that can mess you up is using different words that mean the same thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So look at F. There's a new word in there that I haven't used in A, B, C, D, and E. What is that word? Minimum and origin. There's 2. Right? Minimum is a synonym for our vertex, isn't it? But if it's a minimum, is it that or that? It's that one. So what does that mean? A is what? Positive. Agreed? Okay, now, the minimum is 8 at x equals 5. So if my minimum is 8, where's the x value? Here's my parabola. We know it's a happy parabola. And we know that wherever I put it, this is 8, right? Oh, I lie. It's not negative. This is 8, yes? Staying calm. Staying calm. Staying calm. Look at how calm I am. You can't tell that I'm angry. No, it isn't. That's what happens the whole time we had projectors. All right, so we know that this parabola here hits 8, right? Where does it hit 8? At 5. So right there is my vertex of 5, 8. Cool? Now, read that question and tell me if that's possible. Is that possible? The origin is 0, 0. So is that possible? No. If I put this on a test, be honest. How many of you would start, okay, x equals 0, y equals 0, y equals ax, okay, minus 0 squared. Or no, wait, it's 5. And then that is plus 8. Oh, 0, 0, so 0, 0. How many of you would start doing all the work? Be honest. You would, wouldn't you? Right? And then you would find out when you did all your work that that parabola would have to have a negative, wouldn't it? Right? A negative a, which you know isn't possible. Does everybody follow me? So why, Mr. Myers, would you put that question in here? Because of that precise thing. Don't take the math you know and force your answer. Understand? Use your math to find your answer. Don't go the other way around. Understand? So if I change this word to maximum, am I okay then? Then it works, doesn't it? So for this to work, my A really has to be what? Negative. And this really has to be a max. And then it will work. Then can I do all my algebra? Yeah. Kelvin, you look confuzzled. It's asking, it says there is a minimum value of 8. So that means the lowest y value it can have is 8.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just, I don't understand, will your answer be no?
The answer is this is an impossible situation. It can't work. There is no parabola that will do this.
Okay, so the answer would be no, impossible.
Yeah. Now, for argument's sake, we're going to do this. This is impossible. Now, the question I asked you guys is, what would make this possible? How could I make this possible? What is screwing me up here? Either it can't go through the origin, right? Or this has to be a maximum. If one of those is true, then we could do the work. Do you understand? And if you had turned around, you would have seen about 12 hands go up behind you as people who would have started doing algebra without actually reading the question. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Is everybody cool? Okay, now, for practice sake, let's change this to maximum. Right? So now, I have a vertex of what? What's my vertex? 5, 8. And I go through the origin, so what's my point on the graph? 0, 0. Because this goes down, because my y's are decreasing, so A is what? Negative. Now can I do this? So what would it be? Y equals negative A, x what? Minus 5 squared plus 8. And then I would work it through. What would go in for the y and the x? 0, 0. 0 equals negative a. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25, yes? But it has to be negative, so it's negative 25a plus 8, correct? Everybody good? Now what? 8 goes over here, yes? Yeah? Negative 8 over here equals negative 25a. Divide by negative 25. And what do I get? 8/25. Now look at the problem there. What just happened? Those are both positive, so what? Or those are both negative, so my a ends up being what? Except it can't be, can it? Because the parabola goes down, what would the equation be? It would still be negative 8/25. Is everybody good? I did the question on purpose to mess with your heads. Is everybody okay? Now.
So what you did is basically ignore one of the negatives.
Okay, again. Understand the point I am making with this question. The only reason we are doing this is to give you extra practice with subbing in. Okay?
On the test, I would not do that.
On a test, you would say that's impossible. Okay?
Were you supposed to put the negative for A?
It has to be a negative if this is a maximum. Right? A must be negative. I'm sorry?
Like if you play like the question out without having a negative there, then you get a negative.
Yes.
Okay. So why put a negative?
I need in my final equation for this to work with the maximum, a must be negative. Right? So the stretch factor is still 8/25. Right? But I put the negative in at the end to show that it is 8/25 downwards. That's what that negative is for. It's not there as a value. It's there to show where the parabola opens. Okay? Everybody with me? That's the only reason that negative is there. So we know the stretch value was positive 8/25. But for our parabola to work, it had to be going downwards. So the negative goes back in. Is everyone okay? If it was this kind of parabola, the stretch would have been positive 8/25. Is everybody good? Once, twice, thrice? Okay. So, whoa there, big stuff. What's the new word in G?
Axis of symmetry and range.
So, axis of symmetry. What does that mean? It's the vertical line through the vertex, yes? So does that give me an X on my vertex? What is it? Negative 8. And it's got a range of y is less than 4. What does that mean? That means on my graph, 4 is the maximum value. So which way does the graph go? Down. So what is the y value of my vertex? Positive 4. Is everybody cool there? Now could you solve it? Why? Because I have an x, I have a y, and I have a vertex, right? And what kind of parabola must it be? So what is a must be what? Negative. Go ahead. Who has an answer for me? Y equals what? Kelvin, what do you got? So just the answer. Don't tell me what you did. Just tell me what you think your answer is. Okay, positive or negative? Negative. So what's your whole equation?
Y equals negative A.
Negative 3 over 100. You just told me that. Is everybody happy? I only see a couple of confused looking faces. Yeah, that's funny. The coffee was going to come out my nose. So I coughed. And now coffee's all over my hand at the desk. It is funny. I have no problem with laughing at it, because if this happened to one of you, I would have laughed as well. It's all recorded. Coffee was about to come out my nose because it was about to go down my trachea. So then I coughed, hoping to save it, but I couldn't, and I ended up spitting coffee all over my desk. Kelvin Horner thought it was uproarious. He's still laughing. Appearing next week, Mr. Myers does Falling. Because nothing's funnier than that kind of comedy. All right. Okay, so you guys should be able to do this guy, yeah? Yo. Okay. So y equals, you know it has to be, I'm just going to write A, okay? X plus 8 squared, yes? Plus 4, you good there? I am aware of that. Jenny is asking about it. 2 is X, so what do I write there? 2 is X. So what do I write there? 2. What's 2 plus 8? What's 10 squared? So I have 100A plus 4, yeah? Right? Okay. Y is 1. So what do I write there? 1. What do I do with that 4? I move the 4 over. So now I have negative 3 equals 100A, yes? Now what? I divide by 100, and there's my A of negative 3 over 100. So y equals negative 3 100ths x plus 8 squared plus 4. Good? All right. Look at the last one. Y-intercept of negative 5. Does that give me a point? 0, negative 5. Because the y-intercept is negative 5. 0, negative 5. Maximum value of negative 3. So what's in my vertex? What is the y in my vertex? Negative 3. What is the x? Negative 1. And since it's a maximum, has to be a sad parabola. So y equals a x plus 1. Just trust me. Minus 3, yes? Right? Solve it. Equals a 1 squared minus 3. Negative 5 equals a minus 3. What happens here? What happens here? Plus 3, negative 2 equals A. Now, Kelvin, you said, why did I leave this as positive A? Because watch. What happened at the end? I'm letting them finish. What happened at the end? It took care of its negative right away. So if you leave that as A, as it did up here, didn't it? Right? If you just leave it as A, it'll work out in the end. Okay? If you overthink it, negative A, negatives, positive, okay?
But you can also write it.
Yeah, of course. Everybody good? The mistake I would be worried about you making, Joel, is, again, overthinking it. Putting negative A there, and then here you get A equals negative 2. Some of you might say, oh, negative, double negatives makes positive. You understand? That means everywhere you see an A, you put negative 2. So once you put a negative 2 there, that covers your negative A. If you write negative A there, that would be negative 2, technically, which would be positive 2, which wouldn't work. Understand? Is everybody cool with vertex form? Because I want to move on to standard form. Okay. Here we go. Well, normally that would be the case, but that's not the case right now. Parabolas are taking longer than I was hoping. Everybody look at standard form. Have we seen that somewhere before? We have. What is something we have done with a trinomial that looks like that this year? We've done the quadratic formula and we have completed the square. Is everybody with me? Okay. So have a look at this. Is this a good candidate for completing the square? Why? Because this guy's even, correct? So let's take this, because I want you to graph this, yes? Have we done any graphing of standard form yet? Only with our calculators, correct? So watch this. Take this and complete the square over here. So y equals x squared minus 6x plus 4. Now when I complete the square, I like to get rid of this 4, right? So I'm going to have y minus 4 equals x squared minus 6x. Now what do I do to 6? Divide it by 2 and square it to get what? Plus 9, yes? If I add 9 to this side, what do I add to this side? Plus 9. Is everybody cool so far? So what's on the left now? Y plus 5 equals, what's this side? X minus 3 squared, correct? Is everybody still cool? Now what happens if I take this 5 back over here? What is that? What's that? Vertex form. Is everybody cool? So one thing you can do, if I complete the square, on standard form, I get vertex form. Is everybody okay with that? Does everyone see it? Is there anybody that is confused right now? Everybody's good? Okay, now I'm going to ask again, why was this such an easy complete the square? What about this makes it easy? There's nothing here. There's no a value. And it's an even number. Is everybody cool? What if there's a value there and that's odd? Then would you complete the square? What would you do? You'd use the quadratic formula. Is everybody cool? And that quadratic formula gets you an x, yes? Right? Quadratic formula gets you your roots. Cool? All right. Now, I want you to look at something. You don't even have to write this down because I'm going to let you know about it later. I'm going to give it to you, but I want to show you something. So I'm going to take this same one, okay? So before I do that, what is the vertex here? 3, -5. Cool? All right. I want to show you guys something. I had x squared minus 6x plus 4, correct? Everybody cool? All right. If I do the quadratic formula with this, that's A, that's B, and that's C. Cool? All right. Now this one we would not quadratic formula. We don't need to because we can complete the square to graph it, yes? But if I gave you one that looked like this, so there's actually an A value there, and this is not a pretty one. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Watch. If I take this yucky number, all right? If I take this yucky trinomial and I work with it, something cool is going to happen. Okay? Now you know, based on completing the square, that this is going to become y equals a, x plus no, in vertex form. What letter do we put there? P or Q? When we did vertex form. I can't remember. Okay, plus Q. You know that this is going to happen, right? Because we just proved it with an easy one. Everybody agree? Yeah? Everyone is good? Okay. Now, watch. This P is what? It's going to be the vertex, yeah? Okay. But with the letters I have here, how did I get P? I had to do what here? What do I do to get rid of this A? I would divide everything by A, wouldn't I? So B is going to have what happen to it? It's going to divide by A. B over A. Everybody cool? What did I just do there? I took this A and I factored it out of this X to get an X, because we like X. And then when I factored it out, I divided AX by A, so I got to divide BX by A. Is everybody cool? Everyone's okay with that, right? I don't want you writing this down. I just want you watching and seeing what happens. Is everybody still good? So there's an X there, and then I have C living out over here, still all by itself. Is everybody okay with that? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Everybody good? Okay, now, this right in here, if I complete this square, just this, because this is x squared, right? If I complete this square, what do I do to BA? I got to cut it in half and square it, right? So B over A times 1/2, because that's going to cut it in half, is going to get me B over 2A, isn't it? Everybody still good? And then what happens there? I square it, and I end up with B squared over 4A squared. Is everybody good? Is everybody okay? Remember, you're just looking right now. You don't need to write it down. Is everybody okay there? So, to this side, I added this, yes? Right? Everybody okay? Everyone's okay, right? So now I have y equals a x squared plus bax plus b squared over 4a squared. Is everybody cool there? Right? And then I still have plus c out here. Everybody is good? Is everybody okay? All right. Which square? B over AX. This is where we're going, Kelvin. This is getting us there. Because B over A, that's just factoring this A out to get it away from there. Right? This right here, I don't want that A there. I want A on its own. So I divided by A to move it out. Once I divide by A, I also have to divide the B by A. No, because I grouped them with this bracket. C is on its own. Okay? Cool? Now, what would I do here? I can factor this, can't I? What is it? X plus what? B over 2A all squared, yeah? I'm factoring, Nav. If I had A squared plus 6A plus 9, it's A plus 3 squared, right? Because it's the square root of that. What's the square root of B squared over 4A? It's B over 2A, yes? So that's this factored. Okay? Is everybody cool to there? Now, all of you should be saying, why haven't you talked about any of this? I haven't, have I? But when I get to here, doesn't this look like this? So, B over 2A gets me what? What is P? It's the vertex formula, isn't it? Does everybody see that? P is the vertex X point, isn't it? Right? What else is the vertex X point? What else is the vertex X point? It's also right there, isn't it? Is everybody cool with that? We only worked through it. I didn't make you do it. We're going to come back to it later. Okay? I just want to make sure about all my math because using letters is difficult, isn't it? So let me just check. Half it. All right, I'm happy with that. So let's come back to our notes here. Okay, so if we were going to graph this, let's graph it. Where would our vertex be? 3, negative 5. Is there a stretch? Is there a stretch? So it's over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, yes? Over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4. 4 looks like that. Everybody cool? Going once, going twice, going thrice? All right. Now, let's look at this situation. Is this a good candidate for completing the square? Why did you say yes at first, Sid? Because that's an even number, yeah? Okay, but that 2 is there. But can I get rid of that 2? I could divide by 2, couldn't I? So I would get 2x squared plus 4x, wouldn't I? Everybody cool? Plus 11. Is everyone all right with that? I just took a 2 out of there. If I distribute this in, do I get the same thing? Yes or no? I do, don't I? There's my 2x squared, there's my 8x squared, and then plus 11. Cool? Now, is this now a good candidate for completing the square? Yes or no? So let's do that. 2x squared plus 4x plus what? 4. Everyone agree? Everyone agree? Just wait. I still got plus 11 here, yeah? What did I add to this side? 4? I added 8, didn't I? So what do I add to this side? 8. Everybody good? So now I've got y plus 8 equals, what's this factor to? X plus 2 squared plus 11, yes? Yes? Now, is this vertex form? Almost. What do I need to do, Joel? I got to get rid of that 8. 2x plus 2 squared. 8 minus 11 minus 8, 3. Is that vertex form? Can I now graph it? What is it? Where do I go? -2, +3. Happy or sad parabola? Happy. Over 1 up 2. Over 2 up 8. So 1, 2, 2, 8. Is everybody good? Two is my A. Is everyone okay? Yes. Two times 4. When I completed the square here, I added 4 inside the brackets, but that 4 was doubled. So I added 8. Are you cool? Okay.
When you first divided it by 2, why did you divide it by 2?
I'm sorry?
You know how it's like you divided 2 to make it x squared plus 4. Why would the 11 divided by 2? Because it's not like 1.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Would it help you, Kelvin, if I wrote it this way at this step? Y minus 11 equaled 2x squared plus 4x. You can move it over at the start. Yes. Yeah. That's. I don't know what makes more sense to you, so I show you what I do. Okay? That's why I double checked that everyone was okay with this step. Right? Because when I factored out that 2, if I distribute this, I still get 2x squared, 8x, and 11, right? Cool? Okay. Everybody good? Everybody good? Everybody good? Okay. Now, I want you guys to remember something. You can complete the square for your vertex x, right? You can complete the square for your vertex form. But I want to show you, remember, we also found out that our vertex x equaled something else, yes? And this is what I want you to remember. Vertex x equals b over 2a. And just let me check. Now, once you have a vertex x, that gives you an x value, yes? That you can sub back in for the y, for vertex y. Okay? I'll show you what I mean in a minute. We'll actually use it. But first I want to do a couple of pattern things here. First thing, what's the y-intercept? Y-intercept is at 0y, correct? What is that value? Is that an x or a y? That's an x, yes? So if I come up here, where does that 0 go? ax squared plus bx plus c. Where can that 0 go? On all the x's, which means y equals 0 plus 0 plus c. So what is my y-intercept? My y-intercept equals c. Is everybody cool with that? Yeah, which you already knew. But that's only in standard form. Everybody good there? Oh, I knew I screwed it up. I knew I screwed it up. There's a negative there. I screwed it up when I was factoring. But I put it here anyway. It's Friday. We just did less learning because I screwed something up. But fortunately, I did already tell you this. Okay, so I'm going to get you guys to this page. This is going to be your homework. I lie. Page 104 and 105 is going to be your homework. At the top of page 103, remember, you can either complete the square, that's option 1, or option 2, use vertex x equals negative b over 2a, and then sub back in. Okay? So when do you use this? Would you complete the square for a? Yes. Why, Sid? What? Because the middle is even and there's no first value. Everybody cool? So you would complete the square here. What have I done differently? It's f of x, which is just output, which is the same as y. Okay? You all remember that from grade 10. Yes. Would you complete the square in b? No, why? Odd. Could you complete the square in c? Yes, because you could factor out that 3 and this would become 2, right? So you could complete the square here. Could you complete the square in d? Yes. This, optional, this will always work. 1 is easy math with a lot of computation. Because you got to figure this out, then sub it back in, then do more math. This is easy math with less computation. Do you understand? So you choose which you're going to do. Cool? 1038. You got lots of time to do these 4 before you go away. Page 104 and 105 is what I want done on the weekend. These 4 you can do right here. Okay? Everybody cool? Okay. I'm going to quietly, with the screen off, do A and B. It'll show up on the recording tonight. Okay? You guys attempt it now. You've got a thing, yeah? %, not 99%. True. But Joel, right? For all of you. Joel got it. Okay, everybody? Go. A, B, C, D. Oh, let me ask you this. Would it help if on the video I did both of these for all of them? Would that be helpful? Okay. I'll do it. I'll do this twice. I'll do it all the way through with complete the square, and it'll all be on the video, and then I'll erase it, and I'll do it all with this one. Is that cool? And then you guys just choose. But you'll see them both. Okay? But first I got to pee. And I'm not going to be talking. I'm just going to be working. All right? Naomi. Of course. Yo. Oh, right. I guess it doesn't really matter.
All he does is stand up there and talk, and he just draws random stuff. Like, for us, he actually does notes, right? He doesn't do that for
Again, I'm doing all completing the square, and then I'm going to erase it, and then I'm going to do all with this, and you'll choose. Okay? Where do you get what? Will you get the same answer? Yes. Oh, that's supposed to be minus. Sorry. Minus and minus.
Just ringing them up, right? That's not working. I was gonna handle that because if you don't handle it like I'll bring it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I know this shit. Yeah. No, but it's gonna be very tough.
Okay. There is everything with completing the square. Okay? One sec, Shaq, can I just for 1 sec? This has been on the screen for a little bit. It's on the screen in the recording. Okay? This is everything with completing the square. Now I'm going to do all 4 questions again, but I'm going to use that other method where you find x and then sub back in. Okay? Everybody cool? And it's going to look different, but I'm going to get the same answers. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the same answers and I'm going to move them over here. One sec, Sid. Or who was that? Oh, sorry, Michaela. 1 sec. So there is A, B, C, and D with completing the square. Michaela, what was your question? Okay.
For this one, you added 3 to each side, but isn't it positive here?
So you factor that out. Then now you complete the square, right? So this is over here. It's y minus 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you factor this, it becomes plus 1, right? Half of that squared.
Oh, okay.
So you're adding 3 to both sides. It's 3 times 1.
Okay.
Okay, because you hadn't actually completed the square to add anything yet.
Okay.
Right. So vertex of the x equals negative b over 2a, which is negative 10 over 2 times 1, which is negative 5. So now my x equals negative 5. You see I have x's here, yes? So y equals negative 5 squared plus 10 times negative 5 minus 6, which is 25 minus 50 minus 6, which is negative 31. So my Vx is negative 5, my Vy is negative 31. So my vertex is negative 5, negative 31. So then I go to my vertex form, y equals x plus 5 squared minus 31. And because there is no a, there's no a here. And you see I have the exact same answer. Okay? And again, no A, so no A. Yes, Kelvin. Not at all. So you should have had negative 6.25. Yeah, negative 4.25. Yep, it's fine. Absolutely. I have never understood why you guys like working with decimals. It makes no sense to me. Because the square, 5 halves squared is 25 over 4. 5.25 squared is 5.25 times 5.25. Blah. Because I do more work in my head, I like to stay in fractions. You guys do more work with your calculators. And when you were given calculators when you were kids, there were no fraction buttons on them. So you like to do your work in decimals. I don't like decimals because decimals aren't exact. 1/3 is exact. 0.3333333333333333 isn't. Oh, I forgot a squared there. Okay. Oops. What's D?
That doesn't mean it's
Okay. So, you guys doing 104 and 105 for homework? I don't care which one you do. You can complete the square or you can use the formula thing, but be sure you can do one of them reliably. Most of you are probably going to choose the formula one because it always works. But I'd like you to notice, even completing the square, it was way faster, wasn't it? It's way faster, even when you've got decimals involved.